What's up you guys, Hero276 here, and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're featuring a good team for climbing featuring SCRAFTY, Tentacruel, and Quillfish. To kick things off, we get a lead against Azumarill. This is one of the worst possible leads to face, as Azumarill hits for double super effective with Play Rough, and everything's resisted. So we're going to safe switch into our Tentacruel, and we bait out an Ivysaur. Now, this isn't a terrible matchup for Tentacruel considering that Poison Jabs hit for neutral damage, so we're just going to continue to stay in here and commit a shield if we have to. We get to a second Acid Spray, which is going to 4 times debuff my opponent's defense, and we're just going to commit all the way to the Poison Jab down. I can guarantee you this, Ivysaur can only reach one move, so I'm going to shield up, it's the Power Whip, so be it, and we're able to farm down with Tentacruel. That is the absolute beauty of Acid Spray. And in the back is a Grand Bull. So my opponent was triple weak to water poison. So at this point, we're going to keep farming up. My opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Hopping into game number 2, and we pick up an absolutely atrocious lead, SCRAFTY into Breloom. We're going to safe switch into our Tentacruel, and look at those Poison Jabs. I know that Breloom isn't necessarily the tankiest thing around, but even without Acid Spray, those Poison Jabs are chunking. We're going to shield up the Seed Bomb, and in comes a Nidoqueen. I tend to find that Pokemon love to call the Acid Spray bait, so I'm going to go straight for the Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump! Boom! Takes out Nidoqueen. My opponent decides to bring back in the Breloom, but they can't get to a Seed Bomb, so they just get farmed down. And in the back is a Alolan Marowak. This is absolutely beautiful to see. My opponent once again triple weak to a water poison type. We're going to sponge the Bone Club and get off the Acid Spray. I'm hoping that my opponent lost count, so I'm hoping that they commit the shield here, and we get the shield. That's very nice. So now not only is my opponent down a shield, but they're going to be now 4 times debuffed by the Acid Spray, and we get a second shield. Tentacruel goes down, but in comes the Quill God. Quill God just has to reach one Aqua Tail right here to take out the Alolan Marowak. However, I'm feeling a little bit disrespectful today. I no-shield the Shadow Ball, and I'm going for the Sludge Wave. I get there on about 10 HP in a dream, but Sludge Wave, boom! Takes out the Alolan Marowak, and that's a good game. Hopping into game number 3, and the terrible leads continue, SCRAFTY into Jumpluff. Once again, I'm going to safe switch into my Tentacruel, and my opponent's staying in. I'm hoping that once again my opponent doesn't have a very clear response for a water poison type as I go for the Acid Spray. Acid Spray gets shielded, and my opponent comes in with Galarian Stunfisk. This is not a response for Tentacruel, especially down shields. This is way too quick to be an Earthquake, so I no shield, and it's just the Rock Slide, and it doesn't do a ton of damage. I'm trying to get to the Hydro Pump, but unfortunately Galarian Stunfisk outpaces me, so I have to burn a shield here in order to get off the Hydro Pump. I'm over farming a little bit, and I go for the Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump will do big damage if it lands. Boom! Able to take out the Galarian Stunfisk, and back in comes the Jumpluff. Jumpluff is going to throw their energy. Energy Ball will take me out from this range, but I still have Quillfish left. And even shields, Quillfish should be able to win this matchup. I'm going to shield up this next move, as Energy Ball would be doing big damage to me. I'm going to overfarm just a little bit before going for the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail would be baiting a shield. If it lands, that would be horrible for me. But fortunately, it gets the shield, and now we should be able to land the Sludge Wave. In comes Boom number 2. My shieldless opponent, boom! Gets taken out by a Sludge Wave. Machamp in the back, and we should be able to survive one Cross Chop and successfully get to the Sludge Wave. Machamp, Cross Chop doesn't quite take me out, and we reach the Sludge Wave. How about that? 3 booms in one video. Let's hear it. Boom! Takes out Machamp, and that's a good game. Hopping into game number 4, and we pick up a lead up against Steelix. This is a very, very nice lead for SCRAFTY, as counter hits for super effective damage. And even better, my opponent is staying in, which leads me to believe that something else in the back is also weak to SCRAFTY. Going for the power-up punch, my opponent no-shields it, and then they bring in a Galvantula. And now, my troubles begin. My whole team loses to Galvantula, but fortunately, Galvantula is quite glassy, and those poison jabs are really chunking at it. I call the lunge successfully, allowing me to get off an Acid Spray. Acid Spray would twice lower my opponent's defense, and it gets a shield, which is very nice. Now, poison jabs are really starting to add up here, but unfortunately, Galvantula farms me down. I'm going to wait out my switch clock for a bit, but I'm going to come in with SCRAFTY eventually. The reason being, my opponent stayed in with the Steelix for quite a long time up against my SCRAFTY, proving to me that they are ABA weak to SCRAFTY, and let's see if our supposition is correct. It is! They have Lapras in the back, and even better, it's a Frost Breath Lapras, meaning they won't be able to get to very many charge moves to pressure my shields. SCRAFTY is in an excellent position to stay in here and absolutely rev up its attack with Power Up Punch and crush the back line. Going for the Power Up Punch, we'll be able to counter down the Lapras, my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Hopping into game number 5, and we got ourselves a lead up against Crobat. Crobat does very well up against my entire team, so I have to come in here with Tentacruel as my safe switch. Unfortunately, air slashes are doing tremendous amounts of damage, more so than the poison jabs are, and even worse, we get outpaced to the debuff move. Fortunately though, Acid Spray twice lowers my opponent's defense, so they can safely no-shield that, but poison jabs will do so much damage now. As you can see, despite being resisted, poison jabs are starting to add up. I can live the Poison Fang and actually get off another Acid Spray. This is very, very nice for me, as it puts Tentacruel in a position to 4 times debuff my opponent's defense and get a shield, so now we have shield advantage. I'm going to bring in Qwilfish and overfarm a lot. We can safely tank 1 Poison Fang, so I'm going to call it, and it is just the Poison Fang, a very nice call. So now I'm going to overfarm like crazy, and I'm going to try to get for the Aqua Tail, but I get greedy! Unfortunately, my opponent reaches another move in time, and I have to commit the shield. I snipe with SCRAFTY, but our troubles are not yet over. In comes Druddigon, a neutral Pokemon that does pretty well up against the Water Poison type. So I have to go for the Power Up Punch, but it gets a shield! That is huge! So if I can get to a foul play in time, I should be able to KO the Druddigon, and I'm going to shield up this Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw gets my shield, and now that my attack is raised, I'm going to try to counter down, but I get greedy! Unfortunately, the Druddigon reaches a Dragon Claw. Is this enough to KO? It is not, and we are able to counter down. We have so much energy for whatever is in back, and it's Ferrothorn, which is very nice to see. SCRAFTY has a very nice matchup up against Ferrothorn, and even better, we're still able to reach a power-up punch before going down. So this will chip at the Ferrothorn a little bit, and it brings it into the red. Now I can bring in Qwilfish, Sludge Wave the Ferrothorn, and get it out of here. And that is going to be a good game. Hopping into game number 6, and we pick up a lead up against Umbreon, a very positive lead. My opponent is going to switch out into a Pidgeot, and in comes Tentacruel. This is not too great to see, as while Tentacruel can debuff the Pidgeot's defense with Acid Spray, the Pidgeot is simultaneously debuffing my attack with Feather Dance. This is tricky to call, because this could be the Brave Bird here, so I'm going to shield, and unfortunately, I get baited with a Feather Dance. That's not ideal. I'm able to get to an Acid Spray, but an entire Gust sneaks through, and my opponent should be able to outpace me to the next Feather Dance. So now, I have a tricky call to make. I want to try to get to 1 more Acid Spray, if at all possible, and keep switch advantage. So I'm going to do just that, shielding up the Tentacruel. We get to the Acid Spray, and this will take out the Pidgeot, and it's all going to come down to what my opponent has remaining. They bring in a Walrein. Once again, opponent is weak ABA to SCRAFTY, and now SCRAFTY's in a decent position. I do need to be wary of Earthquake though, as it does have decent damage potential, so I'm going to try and switch and catch the Earthquake onto Qwilfish. Did we do it? Ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. We caught the Earthquake, one-shotting the Qwilfish, and because of that catch, we no longer have to worry about any damage. We can safely go for the Power-Up Punch to KO the Walrein, and all of the moves from Umbreon except Last Resort are resisted. And remember, Umbreon doesn't hit very hard, so this game is definitely in the bag. We can go straight Power-Up Punch here, rev up our counter damage, and counter all the way down. It honestly does not matter what this Umbreon throws at us. They throw the double resisted Dark Pulse, it barely tickles SCRAFTY, and my opponent surrenders, and that is game, set, and match. Picking up a pretty rough lead in the penultimate match, SCRAFTY into Shadow Victory Bowl. We're going to safe switch into the Tentacruel, but it's taking big damage from the Razor Leafs here, and in comes a Skarmory. Does Skarmory know about the Hydro Pump? As I've said before, a lot of people try to call the Acid Spray bait. Skarmory no shields the Hydro Pump. It connects and does pretty nice damage. So now, I'm going to let the Sky Attack go down and take me out, but to be honest, I probably should have shielded. Without switch advantage, I don't have the proper alignment to keep SCRAFTY away from the Shadow Victreebel, or the Skarmory for that matter, so I'm in a pretty tough spot. I have to shield the Sky Attack and counter all the way down. So now, I don't have switch, I don't have shield, and in comes an Azumarill, so this team is triple strong up against SCRAFTY, so I have to come in with the Quillfish to lure out the Shadow Victreebel, and I have to hope that I can get down both shields from Shadow Victreebel, farm it down, and land a Sludge Wave on Azumarill. This is a tough task, considering Razor Leafs are chunking very quickly. Aqua Tail coming through, it gets the shield, and I'm going for another Aqua Tail. This hopefully should get the final shield, and hopefully I can reach the Sludge Wave to take out the Shadow Victreebel. Unfortunately, it's not looking like the case, and the Razor Leafs take me down. In comes SCRAFTY, which at this point is a sitting duck to a game over situation. We go for the power-up punch. It's not enough to KO, and we have to go for a second. This will KO the Shadow Victreebel, but unfortunately, Azumarill is not in a health range where a double boosted Foul Play would KO, and unfortunately, this game is over. Good game to my opponent. But you know we gotta end on a good note, leading SCRAFTY into the mirror. Now what I like to do is I like to catch the power-up punch onto one of my poison types, so I'm going to switch and catch the power-up punch onto Tentacruel. This is resisted and will not be doing a ton of damage. As you can see, barely tickles. My opponent finally swaps into Venusaur, and we reach the Acid Spray in time. At this point, Frenzy Plant would be doing a lot of damage, so I'm more than willing to shield it if it means I'm going to be able to farm all the way down. In comes a Frenzy Plant from Venusaur, and like I said earlier, I'm going to go ahead and commit a shield. Frenzy Plant would be doing a lot of neutral damage. I'm going to go for one more Acid Spray before committing all the way to the farm down, just so that way Venusaur gets at -4, and it makes my farm a little bit easier. Venusaur is able to get to one more Frenzy Plant before going down, and I am going to burn my second shield, but I'm totally fine if it means I have ever important switch advantage. In comes a Swampert, and now they're just going straight Hydro Cannon. I should be able to survive this, and hopefully I have enough to reach the Hydro Pump. I'm farming up, and I reach the Hydro Pump on 1 HP in a dream. The question is, does Swampert respect it? Boom! Hydro Pump takes out the Swampert, and in the back is that poor SCRAFTY. And at this point, I can bring in Quillfish to safely get to an Aqua Tail and outpace the SCRAFTY. And this should hopefully get my opponent's final shield. My opponent actually lets it go through. So now I'm going to try for a catch. I switch and catch the double resisted Foul Play onto SCRAFTY. Unbelievable. That is a good game, very well played to my opponent. Overall, I thought this team was very strong. Even though it's core broken by Galvantula, I didn't really run into it too much, and not a whole lot of trainers use it, giving this team an opportunity to really shine. If you like the music used in today's video, please be sure to check out the link in the description so you can have access to all these songs on my Spotify. I do have an album coming out called Detached that I'm planning on releasing by the end of the summer. You can find it on my Spotify, as well as on Amazon Music, iTunes, YouTube, and more. If you're interested in buying the album, the list price will be $4.99, just like my other 2 EPs. Lastly, I just wanted to say something about my shorts. Almost every day since late March, I have been uploading a clip of one battle that I thought would be super enjoyable for an audience. And within the past week, these shorts have gotten a ton of views. I've gotten 17 subscribers in the past month, and I am loving the direction this channel is headed. I just wanted to thank my subscribers, my viewers, and all the people who like and comment on my videos. The Pokemon Go community is truly a one-of-a-kind group, and I'm super grateful to have received such a positive reaction from you guys. Today's short will be available before midnight, and I promise you guys it's going to be a good one. That said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.